We go next to the Eastern Cape, and Premier Oscar Mabuyane is set to deliver his 2025 State of the Province address. What it's meant to do is to outline government's priorities for the year ahead. And you'll know it comes as that province faces ongoing challenges in service delivery, infrastructure issues, economic growth, but it's also seeing progress in job creation and major development projects. So it's many-dimension story. And ahead of that address, we look at the key issues expected to take center stage. Let's take you now to our Sipha Kema, who is in Bhisho. Sipha, good morning.
Good morning there, Iman. Yes, we are at the Eastern Cape Legislature in Bhisho, ahead of Oscar Mabuyane, the Premier of the Eastern Cape's State of the Province address for 2025. As you rightfully say, Iman, that we will be looking, of course, now reflecting on 2024, the previous year, how exactly it went is also the key priorities for 2025. And you mentioned there's some of the possible priorities that could top the Premier's address today. Yes, definitely economic growth is one. There is, because we've seen some issues, or rather threats regarding job cuts from several manufacturing plants, especially the vehicle areas, but also, Iman, crime. That is one of the biggest issues that has been affecting the Eastern Cape over the past year. I mean, we've seen with the mass shootings over the past years, illegal firearms that we've seen. Those are the issues that we believe he'll be touching on. Job creation, which is very important. But as we've seen for the past two Labour quarterly reports, the Eastern Cape seems to have been doing well. Now, on that note, let me bring in the Eastern Cape government spokesperson, Kuselwa. Thank you so much, Kusela, for joining us on Newzroom Afrika. I mean, when we take a look at some of the possible priorities that will top the list, let's first talk about the progress so far over the last, comparing from the last SOPA to today.
Good morning to you, Sipha, and the viewers. You would understand that the 2024 SOPA was really about the Premier accounting to the people of the province in terms of what has been achieved in the 6th term of administration. And the difference now is that he will go deeper in terms of unpacking the priorities aligned to the midterm development plan that has just been concluded. So it is about saying what is it that government will be doing in the 7th term in terms of job creation, in terms of improving the economy of the province, in terms of dealing with issues of crime. You would understand that in the last term, we have done well as a province in terms of improving education outcomes, and we have made some strides in terms of building school infrastructure. Now it is about making sure that we take things higher, we take it to the next level. You would understand when we released the results, the MEC did say that it's possible for the people of the province, or for the learners in our province, to take us to 90% by the end of the term. So we're looking forward to Premier unpacking how we will walk that journey towards achieving exactly those things, understanding, Sipha, that the economic climate currently is really gloomy to the point of really being stagnant. So it's about balancing all those issues and making sure that as the provincial government, we do more together with our stakeholders in terms of improving the lives of the people of the Eastern Cape.
Yeah. Now, Kusela, before I bring in Vicky, I just want to quickly ask, I mean, with the progress, there have been challenges faced by the Eastern Cape government, namely issues of service delivery. But it seems like over the past years, when we look at some of the priorities and issues, it trickles down to local government. It seems to be a sore point for the Eastern Cape.
Yes, it is, Sipha. That's why in the last term, the MEC for local government introduced what they call the risk-adjusted strategy. Really there, we were looking at ensuring that the grants that come into our local government or into our municipalities are spent, and they are spent within that desired period. But more importantly, to see the impact on the ground. That's why, again, the Premier welcomed in the last week when the president said that there is going to be much focus in local government, including relooking at how local government is being funded, because there are those municipalities within our province that are struggling owing to the resources or the lack thereof the resources. We have rural municipalities wherein they are unable to bring in that much revenue, and therefore they depend on government. So we're looking forward to such reforms that are about transforming how municipalities work.
All right, so thank you so much. That's Kusala Ranti, of course, giving us the progress rate, but also what to expect today. Now, we're going to bring in Dr. Vicky Knotia from DA caucus leader here. Vicky, speaking about, we just spoke about some issues with rural municipalities, them not having the resources, also issues because of ratepayers. They don't have enough ratepayers in these rural communities. But we've seen the DA traveling various parts of the Eastern Cape, more especially the rural side, doing oversight visit on some of the areas. What is it that the DA has picked up?
Thank you, Sipha. Sipha, one of the major things that we have picked up in the Eastern Cape is that out of 39 of our municipalities, we've got about a third of those municipalities in financial distress. We've got poor service delivery. We've got communities that don't have access to water, which is a basic human right. We've got infrastructure collapsing. We also saw in the quarterly labour force statistics that the amount of people unemployed in our rural areas is much higher than in our metro areas. In fact, in this province, we've got almost half our people that don't have the dignity of a job.
Now, those are shocking stats and numbers, and that looks at the expended numbers, of course, people that haven't stopped work, or rather have given up looking for work. Now, Vicky, when we talk about the issue of job creation and unemployment, it seems as though there has been progress made according to some of the stats by the Eastern Cape government. What is your take on that?
Sipha, just because our unemployment rate is slightly, and I mean really slightly, lower than it was in the previous quarter, does not mean we have progress. That is not progress to the nearly 50% of people that don't have a job in the Eastern Cape. That is not progress for the poor people that live below the poverty line in this province, for the people that have to dig through garbage just to have something to eat in this province. That is not progress, because one always has to ask oneself, what is the lived reality of our communities living on the ground? Our people are poor, they are suffering, and they are starving in this province.
Thank you so much, Vicky. Vicky, DA caucus leader in the legislature there, talking about some of those issues that we've been reporting on as well over the past few months regarding the Eastern Cape, looking at the issues of poverty, malnutrition, looking at the report done by ETSEC as well, saying that more than half of the Eastern Cape is living below the poverty line. We've seen children die of malnutrition. So, looking at the address by the Premier, looking to address those issues, those critical issues such as poverty and malnutrition, as those also top the President's priorities is to eradicate poverty and malnutrition in the country.
Sipha, Kema, thank you for that. And the highlights of that SOPA will be shared with our viewers a little bit later on as that event gets underway.